You've now heard several poems, and my claim here, my title is Poetry is Mystical. The words mystical or transcendent can be intimidating. You might think you've never had an experience that qualifies. I think you have with my definition. I'm sure you have. I also believe that anyone can love a poem, deeply love a particular poem, even if poetry isn't your thing. My goal today is to explain how poetry can give you a taste of what religions call oneness, the ultimate, or God. You don't need to be on a mountaintop. Your taste might last no more than a few seconds. I call these tastes M&Ms, that stands for mystery and meaning. M&Ms are moments when we experience unexpected connections between things, mystery, that feel unexpectedly important, meaning. Poetry has a big set of tools that create M&Ms and approach the effects of chanting, prayer, meditation, and trance. That might sound like a big claim, but I'm going to try and show it to you. Let's start with metaphor. The most powerful can be mixed metaphors that smash things together absurdly. In Chinese foot chart, the first poem you heard today, Kay Ryan doesn't say that pressing on your foot is like unlocking a door. She never even uses the word door. She says it is unlocking something, and we not quite consciously fill in the gap, imagining a door. And more than that, it sends boats out into the ocean. This is dream logic, a bit trippy, but not random. If you like the poem, these unexpected connections feel unexpectedly important. One way she takes you along is through rhyme. A metaphor says that one thing is something else. Rhyme trains your ear to hear the two things as one. The similar sound merges them. The rhymes don't have to be perfect like hat and hat, and they don't have to be at the end of the line like in a nursery rhyme. Each touch uncatches some remote lock. Look, boats of mercy embark from our heart at the oddest knock. Lock sounds kind of like embark and prepares us for that perfect rhyme, knock. And when we hear knock, we recall the door we imagined before. The fact that we had to imagine it is important. This poem is interactive, and that's a big reason it works, at least for me. And to me, the sounds create a circle. That final perfect rhyme gives me a sense of closure, completion, whole, oneness. In this poem, we don't know when the rhyme is coming. Traditional poetry has rhyme schemes, predictable patterns, like you just heard one. The effect can be soothing. That's one reason nursery rhymes calm children. We know the rhyme is coming. Repetition is also soothing. Why do we say they're there, not there? But rhyme schemes in adult poems are trickier. They can lull you not into comfort, but into opening emotionally, perhaps to sorrow. Down by the Sally Gardens, the song you just heard, by the great Irish poet William Butler Yeats starts us all gently. A young man has an older lover. She bid me to take love easy as the leaves grow on the tree. But I, being young and foolish, with her would not agree. Tree and agree are simple and sweet and might sound childlike. But by the second stanza, the stakes are higher. She bid me take life easy, not love, but life, as the grass grows on the weirs. But I was young and foolish, and now am full of tears. Now, how much time has passed? We don't know the story. We only know that he's no longer young, and he's full of tears. Life hasn't been easy. This poem collapses time, another aspect of mysticism. The past is not gone, it is with us. The poetic devices aim to do what Ryan describes: press on your foot, uncatch your locks, make your boats of mercy embark. You can feel an old man crying. If you're young, you hear that your current heartbreak could infect your entire life. If you're older, you might recall long ago hurts you thought didn't matter anymore. Time collapses. Yeats writes here in meter, though not perfectly. Meter, patterned beats, for example, iambic pentameter in a Shakespearean sonnet, is a powerful tool. The poet Jennifer Michael Heck calls it a trance-inducing percussion instrument. I wish modern poetry used it more often. Emily Dickinson often writes in something called ballad meter, which happens to fit very nicely with the theme song of a comedy TV show that was very popular in my day, Gilligan's Island.
I'm going to read the first stanza from Because I Could Not Stop for Death. So firstly, I'll read it. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. Now here's this text sets the theme from Gilligan's Island. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality.
So that's an example of a traditional poem with a meter. Okay. I wish modern poetry used meter more often. Alliteration, using words that begin with the same letter, seems simple and childlike, but also can carry you far. In From Blossoms, Lee Young Lee, a living poet, describes buying peaches from a road stand with a cascade of words beginning with B. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the bend of the road where we turned towards signs painted peaches. Signs painted peaches, saying it makes your mouth water, those peas. And he goes on. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins. Did you feel yourself traveling from blossoms brown bought bend boughs until that odd sweet fellowship in the bins? To me, it's a little trance-inducing. It's also a little scary. Peaches are now sentient, huddled together. They'll be eaten or sweetly rot together. That's a sign of a good poem when you take in one emotion with a hint of another underneath or alongside. So we all know the power of these poetic devices from popular song, the rhythms, the rhymes, the refrains. Millions of people live on the poetry and song. They can recite hours of lyrics by Taylor Swift. In my youth, we all adored Paul Simon. By comparison, poetry on its own is a tiny enterprise. I'd argue it's tiny because of a huge mistake. Like modern music that forsake melody and harmony, much contemporary poetry has cut out its heart. It's peculiar, it's hard to understand, it doesn't flow, it doesn't sound good. Or for me, it's too direct. Confessional, free verse can feel strong, but you lose a lot. Songwriters kept rhyming and beat poets cold. By the way, recent poets have used all the old formal tools beautifully, although more subtly usually. My favorite is Richard Wilbur, who you might know from the poem, "Love Calls Us to the Things of This World." The poem likens laundry to angels. It's in iambic pentameter, familiar from Shakespeare, but not rhymed. Outside the open window, the morning air is all awash with angels. Some are in bed sheets, some are in blouses, some are in smocks, but truly they are there. Now they are rising together in calm swells. That sounds like music to me. Song lyrics go well with the song they accompany, but might not sound musical on their own. Metered poetry contains its own music. This kind of musical language, I believe, touches our deepest brain chemistry from the origins of humankind. This isn't something I learned in college, but came to ecstatically in a 3-hour phone call with a researcher on auditory hallucinations in music and speech. She was pretty much a neuroscientist. But we accidentally discovered we both loved poetry, and we just kept talking and talking. As she explains it, no one knows whether music or words came first. One theory is that the first sounds we made to communicate were a mush of both. They might have sounded like the way we talk to babies, sing-songy. It's called motherese. Poetry is like that, containing music. It makes me happy, and I am attracted to it more when I'm happy and my mind is free. But that's me. Many people link poetry to death and breakups, and they use it as a remedy for heartbreak. That's a good idea, to read poetry when you're sad. Writing poetry when you're miserable is also a great idea, which I've done. Try diving into the terrifying waterfall of emotion, and you might just float up into a calm pool. Using form will help. A tight rhyme scheme forces focus. There's no paradox in saying that when it's going really well, you disappear. Writing poetry has given me my most transcendent moments, my egoless moments. What happened seems so different than what I could ever have thought of myself. It doesn't seem like I did think of it. It felt like it came, it used me, it manifested, all of those words. It feels like a gift. Once, when I was writing a self-help piece about how to find things that you've mislaid, I learned that everybody, not just me, frequently finds that what they frantically searched for was right there before their eyes. This isn't dementia. It happens to young and old. I wrote a poem. Here it is. This is what's called an address poem, where you address an inanimate object. There's some famous poems where people talk to their shoes, things like that. So here's mine. To my lost things, how you vanish makes no sense to me. The note, the sock, the code, the key. Things are not where they're supposed to be. Circling about in my anxiety, I try again, look twice, expectantly. And there you are, where you're supposed to be. But then I wonder why I didn't see you in plain sight. Yes, that's the mystery. Visible, yet not where you're meant to be. Things come back. No, don't lie. All go forever, I believe. Things come back. Can my red hat and gloves, my love, sail quite so far to sea and home again? Things come back. Dear glasses, wait for me. I think I may be where I'm meant to be. The poem told me I was okay, which I wasn't expecting. That felt like a big other godlike voice talking. Thank you for listening to me talk about my great love. May you find a poem and make it your own.